Reception in the middle of the field. Now Trent Wiley will control from the point, and he'll pass it off for. Now controlling from behind is Andrew Pizzo. Looks like we're all up on YouTube for everyone listening with us on Twitter. Again, we will mute this and keep this on standby just in case we got to come back to it. As 2:30 left in this first quarter, Carolina leads it 2-1 as there's no shot by Carolina to close out this opening possession. We will head on over to YouTube as Clemson looks to clear. And for everybody on YouTube, we appreciate you hanging in there with us as we had some technical difficulties, trying to make sure everything was good connection-wise, as we are here at historic Riggs Field on this beautiful Thursday evening here at Clemson University. Just hit the 2-minute mark in the first quarter as Carolina leads 2-1. We've kind of hit a dull here, or a lull, I should say, in this game in terms of the scoring. We had 3 goals there early to start. My name is Ryan Holzbus. I am joined by Finn Landy, who's been handling the camera work for much of these broadcasts that we've had, especially the home broadcast. Just figured out here our stream as we had some difficulties right as we were about to get started. Appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle there, Ryan, but happy to be here. Excited to try out this broadcasting thing for the first time. Hopefully the Cox pull one out.
Absolutely. 2-1 Carolina. Clemson on this opening possession. Will be doing color, or Finn, excuse me, will be doing, there's a Clemson goal. Big goal from Sean Tarish. His 12th goal of the season, 18th point of the year. He muscled through a few Clemson defenders.
Yeah,
and just like that, Clemson ties it up at 2.
South Carolina late to slide there. We'd like to have somebody out there go out there and show, but I think it was Chris Greenberg in there. He hadn't gotten out there far enough yet, so we were a little late to get there, which allowed Clemson to get a nice shot off.
Clemson ties this one up at 2. As Finn will be handling camera work, he'll also be doing a little bit of color commentary, as you just saw there. And back to the face-off dot. Will Frith, again, coming into this game, 73% on the year. He's now 0 for 5 on the evening. Alec Frank, 5 for 5, having a strong start. Frank, 70% on the year thus far. There was a shot from Frank off the mark. Clemson will keep possession. Now up to the point for William Ciccarelli. Passed off for Pendleton from the wing. Back to the point for Ciccarelli. Clemson in white, Carolina in black. As we are now under a minute. There was a shot from Ciccarelli. Hit a pipe. It's going to come all the way out to midfield. And Sam Weiss will control. He's got 2 goals on the evening if you're just joining us. As again, 2-2 as we approach the 30-second mark here in this first quarter. Shot clock will not be a factor as Dermot Quinn controls for the point. We'll pass it off for Kevin Sansone as Carolina will look to get some momentum to close out this first quarter as we've hit the 22nd mark here in the quarter. It's going to be Gunnar Wilson from the far wing trying to create some separation. Here's Dermot Quinn from the point. Trying to get a step. He'll beat a dodge. And he get that shot. And it beats Analis.
Yeah, Dermot scored that one on me a few times in practice there. He loves to go to that bottom corner. Once he gets his hands free on the run, dodging it down that right side alley, he's tough to stop.
Quinn got a step down the right alley, pulled his stick back, and then pulled it to his chest as the trail check from the Clemson defender came. And then, with the stick in his right hand, able to bury it to that far corner. Analis, from our viewpoint up here, looking like a lefty, so off bottom corner there. And back to the face-off stripe where Will Frith has struggled. Looked like Clemson won the initial clamp. We had a handful of whistles as we will get a timeout, or excuse me, the end of the first quarter. Should have been looking at the game clock there as I knew the first quarter was coming to a close. Carolina, a big goal there to end this first quarter. They head into the quarter break up 3-2, and we will be back on the other side of this quick break with the second quarter. Thanks for hanging with us here at historic Riggs Field on the campus of Clemson University. We will be right back with the Battle of the Palmetto State. Welcome back to historic Riggs Field here at the University of South Carolina for quarter number 2 of the Battle of the Palmetto State as Clemson comes up with a big face-off win here. It was not Alec Frank out there for that face-off win. But Clemson nonetheless will keep, or I should say, get into their next offensive possession here. Start this second quarter. Carolina in black, Clemson in white. Carolina leads 3-2 behind 2 Sam Weiss goals as well as a Dermot Quinn goal to close out the first quarter. Clemson will now look to answer here to start the second frame here of the first half as now skip pass looking for Costin Pendleton. He'll now take it down the left alley and to X where he will settle things down looking for a pass. We'll find William Ciccarelli at the near point and now to the point. Here's a dodge and a shot saved by Alex Petrish. Now a quick outlet pass. Carolina will look to clear quickly. It's Will Lohoff got it in transition. Here's a long-range skip pass for Johnny Stanton, who will take it to his left. His shot saved, as well as a big collision there on the crease. They will award Clemson possession on the crease dive. And now Clemson headed the other way. Good fast break opportunity there, though, Finn, for Carolina.
Yeah, even though it didn't work out, Alex showed what he's been doing all year. Really, after he makes a big save, just gets it out quick, and it's been able to initiate some great offense all year.
So Carolina comes in, obviously having 3 goalies who they've pretty much cycled through here, Finn. Petrish, Constantino, Scotty. Head coach Peter Candela goes with Petrish here. What do you think the mindset is here for Coach Candela and his staff?
I mean, all 3 goalies are so solid and steady. Luke's a big talker. He's a solid lefty, and then Leo's the exact same way, but on the right-hand side. Alex just comes in there, takes up a lot of cage, and he's been the hot hand recently, which is the way that they've been going with it so far this year.
Alex Petrish standing 6'3", 200 pounds. However, he can't stop that Jacob Mickelson shot as Clemson knots this one back up at 3. Rusherson ties it back up at 3. Just under the 13-minute mark in this second quarter, Mickelson hits his second goal of the evening. Again, ties this game back up. This battle with the Palmetto State back to the face-off. That's where Wilfrith has struggled. He gets a quick victory here, now pushing in transition. Shot on cage. I should say off cage. But shot nonetheless, and the backup by Carolina. As Wilfrith, his first face-off victory of the evening, will try to collect some momentum and get into a groove. South Carolina will slow things down. So Dermot Quinn from the point will begin this offensive possession for Carolina. Coming in at 9-3, they played a handful of games here in the past month. As for Clemson, they have not. They've only played 2 games since March 12th. As for Carolina, they've played the greater part of their schedule, 7 games over the last month. For the Gamecocks. Backloaded their schedule. Clemson, one of the teams that front-loaded their schedule as Dermot Quinn goes down. Close defense there by Kevin Ritter, the LSM, who now passed off to the far wing. 25 for Carolina. Here's a pass for Vermeulen. Vermeulen carrying it to his right, trying to get a step. He'll get a shot off. It's off the mark with Johnny Stanton there for the backup. Who's 25? Johnny Stanton will start with it from X. Now trying to get his right hand free. He does. Shot saved.
That was a great save there, but that was a really lucky bounce from Clemson.
Saved by Analyst. It did squeak through, though, but took a lucky bounce just before hitting that goal line. Clemson will now look to clear on the cross-field pass. And Clemson will get it across. And they'll now slow things down. The Tigers with a fresh shot clock. 11 minutes left in this second quarter here from historic Riggs Field. We're all tied up at 3. We have the battle of 2 top 10 teams in the MCLA. Put it on by the coaches. in that coach's poll. BYU at number 1, followed by Virginia Tech, who just beat Clemson just a week and a half ago at Clemson, 21-11. Here's Nagelson, who gets his hands free. And Nagelson gives Clemson their first lead of the evening. It's going to be a hat trick for Jacob Nagelson. And 10:41 left in this second quarter. Clemson takes their first lead of the ball game, 4-3 Tigers.
This is where the Gamecocks really need Will Fripp to step up and win a face-off. He's been great for us all year, and this is a big moment.
Will be Frank against Frith. Frith wins the cramp, but it will go down as a violation against him. So, face-off win awarded to Alec Frank. Now Clemson will slow things down and try to get their offensive personnel onto the field. Back and forth affair. Clemson taking their first lead of the evening as the ball's on the ground. Garrett Brennan trying to take it behind the cage. Still on the ground. Brennan will collect his own ground ball. We're going to have a loose ball push against Clemson. This will go against Brennan, and now South Carolina will look to clear. As we approach the 10-minute mark in this second quarter, 4-3 Clemson. Here from historic Riggs Field at the University of Clemson. Ball went on the ground. Now Clemson will again look to clear. A long-range pass by the goalie analyst. He just got picked off by Bucky Donovan. South Carolina Cole. Clemson will come up with the ground ball, and a flag comes in here at midfield.
That's a soft ball there, if I'm being completely honest, Ryan. I think it was Pat. I can't tell who it was, Ronald. I think it was Andrew Cook.
To be
there.
Andrew Cook who's going to get flagged for
He,
it.
Sam Weiss had jarred the ball out a little bit there, and he went and slashed in, but it kind of looked like he made stick contact there. As you can hear, the Clemson fans are very much liking the call.
Strong ride by Carolina on a pretty aimless pass there by the goalie analyst to the middle of the field. Almost picked off by Carolina. Ball is on the ground. And then Andrew Cook whistled for a little push from behind as the Clemson player going down to pick up the ground ball. That Clemson player was Jacob Nagelson, who has a hat trick on the evening. Has supplied 3 of the 4 Tiger goals. And now Clemson, their first man-up opportunity of the evening as the sun begins to set to our left. We'll see if that does play any sort of factor here as Alex Petrish staring right into the sun here in this second quarter. Ball jarred loose, excuse me. Bucky Donovan on the far sideline comes up with the ground ball, and now Carolina will look to clear. In the middle of the field, it's Will Lohoff got it. He'll slow things down. And Carolina will look to burn this penalty. We are not field level, so we don't know. I imagine this will be a 30-second advantage for Clemson, as it looks like they're about to expire the penalty, and they do. And we are now back, about to be back to all even as Dermot Quinn controls things at the center. We are back to all even. 8:45 left in the second quarter, 40 seconds left on the shot clock as Dermot Quinn faked a shot. Here's a skip pass inside for Pat Riley. Tic-tac-toe, Pat Riley with a very pretty finish.
That was very patient and unselfish from Dermot there. He drove in. He wanted that jump shot on the run where he had scored from earlier, but he took another step and he saw Pat wide open on the crease and he hit him.
Had a nice look there on that jump, or on that little hitch that he had, and then, as you said, Finn, took another step, found a cutting Pat Riley, who puts in the back of the net his 11th goal and 20th point of 2022. And it knocks this game back up at 4. And again, back to tie. And we're back to the face-off strike. And Will Frith with a big face-off win. Tied up for a moment. Here's Frith on the transition. His shot sizzles wide of the cage. Carolina with the backup.
It's a big win for him there, though. He needs to get his confidence going.
For a face-off guy, it's all about momentum. You can kind of compare him to kickers and punchers in football, pitchers in baseball. It's kind of all about the head game. It's all about the mental aspect of it. And then obviously going out there and performing and then kind of gaining momentum kind of helps that mental aspect of it.
Exactly.
Carolina slowing things down. Looks like Pat Riley from the far wing. He'll get crunched. He'll hold on to the ball. Somehow 3 white jerseys that Pat Riley just ran through. And just like that, Carolina back-to-back goals from Riley the junior. And Carolina retakes the lead 5-4.
And I'm not sure if y'all watching at home could have seen that on the stream. I'm here moving the camera around, and the camera shuffled off. And Pat had about 3 people on him, and it looked like the ball was out, and then all of a sudden the stream caught up, and I hear Ryan calling the goal. It was about as no yes as a play can get.
As we talk about face-offs, Will Frith, another big win as we talk about the momentum. His pass for Sam Weiss was off the mark. Clemson will take it from the end line. We talk about just the momentum of face-offs, getting in the zone. Alec Frank got in it early, and now we see Frith.
Yeah, I think that's 3 in a row there for Will after that penalty. That's big for him.
Clemson now clear across midfield. And we'll now look to get the offensive personnel onto the field. For Clemson, I believe on that last face-off, it was Christopher Casey, the senior, from Barrington, Illinois, taking the face-off. Kind of do-it-all player. 49 ground balls on the season, or at least coming into this evening. Here's Clemson from the far wing, looking to initiate some offense. It's Sean Tarish, the junior from Garden City, New York. Also from Garden City, New York, Pat Riley, who just scored 2 of the last goals that we've seen in this game. There was a shot from Austin Pendleton that hit the outside of the goal. Petrish able to collect it, and now Carolina looking clear.
Yeah, if they're from Garden City, you know that they can play. Ryan, I know you're a big PLL guy. That's where Justin Gutterding went. He's one of the best players in the league right now.
Carolina looking to clear. Dermot Quinn had some issues there in the middle of the field. Chris Greenberg there comes over, scoops up that ground ball, and gets it up into the Carolina attack. Yeah, a handful of players there from Garden City, from that Long Island area. You mentioned Justin Gutterding. Was for a long time the all-time leading goal scorer in NCAA history. Now it's Mac O'Keefe, but Johnny Stanton with a huge goal, the freshman. His 18th of the season, 30th point of 2022, and he extends Carolina's lead to 2 here with 6:22 left in this second quarter. It's 6-5 Carolina.
That's big for Johnny there. We've been, the past couple of weeks, he's been getting the nickname Johnny First Goal Stan because he's been having the first goal of every game. He didn't get that today, but he finally got one to go, and the Cocks are rolling.
Biggest lead of the evening for either team is Carolina with the 6-4 advantage, again with just over 6 minutes left in this second quarter. It's going to be Frith, and again, like I said before, Chris Casey at the face-off X. We have whistles on the face-off, a violation against Casey, and Frith again will be awarded a face-off victory, starting to get on a roll here in Carolina. Another offensive possession as we approach the 6-minute mark in this second quarter. Carolina is going to be Dermot Quinn, Gunnar Wilson, and Ryan Vermeulen in the midfield. Sam Weiss, Johnny Stan, as well as Pat Riley in the attack. Again, Carolina in black, Clemson in white. Here's a skip pass from Dermot Quinn across cage.
It's an amazing save right there. To react and get over like that, that's difficult to do.
I believe it was Gunnar Wilson who was on the other end of that skip pass, put a quick shot on cage, and as you said there, Finn, Calvin Analyst, the freshman, with a huge save. Carolina did come up with the possession on the end line on the run out. But we will get to a timeout here with 5:46 left in this second quarter. Carolina with the 2-goal lead over the rival Clemson Tigers. As again, Carolina comes into this game at 9-3, trying to get to double-digit wins here on the regular season. Clemson already hit the double-digit mark. They're at 11-2. And both of these teams, their regular season finale. Carolina on an 8-game win streak. They're trying to close things out and head into their conference tournament that they will begin this Saturday. So 2 days from today, not even, about a day and a half from now. South Carolina will be heading to LaGrange, Georgia, to meet the Auburn Tigers, who have a little less of a trip out to LaGrange, Georgia. They will meet for the first of 2 round 1 games here in the SELC tournament, excuse me. The winner of that game, South Carolina and Auburn, will head to Jacksonville, Florida for the semifinal. The weekend of April 23rd and 24th. Semifinals held on the 23rd of Saturday. Finals held on the 24th that Sunday. The winner of that game, South Carolina and Auburn, on Saturday will take on the number 1 team of the SELC South, the Florida Gators. They finished the season 13-1 as the number 5 team in the MCLA. As for the other side of the SELC tournament, it'll be Florida State taking on Georgia. And then the winner of that game to play next Saturday as well against Georgia Tech, the number 1 team in the SELC North. Georgia Tech finishing the year 12-2 and the number 8 team in the SELC. 3 teams in the SELC in the MCLA top 10. Here's Dermot Quinn out of the timeout with a fresh shot clock. Pass didn't find a mark, but now it's Ryan Vermeulen from the point. He'll get to his left. A shot saved by Analyst. However, Johnny Stanton dug that one out, and he'll get whistles as Analyst did have it covered up.
I was about to say the Gamecocks got away with the goalie interference there, but the refs.
I'm lucky here, Finn. I've been able to work with you now here today, and obviously you've been doing the camera work for all of our games. A goalie. Also, all season we've had Nick Claus, who's been doing games with me. He's a former goalie at the University of Tampa. So getting a chance to work with former current goalies.
I definitely agree. You're very lucky there. It's the greatest position on planet Earth. Toughest position, in my opinion, to play. And we see the game from a great perspective.
Absolutely. Here's Costin Pendleton from the left wing, carrying to his left. He'll run through a couple stick checks. He'll get passed off for Megelson, who's got a hat trick in this game. Megelson gets his left hand free. We're now 12 to 13 yards out. Beats Petrish. Off stick side high to that top left corner. And Clemson will cut the deficit to 1, 6-5 Gamecocks.
Alex has gotten scored on there a couple times. He'd probably like to have at least one of those back. He's a steady goalie. He sees the ball well, and I think once he gets another one, he'll go rolling here.
4:31 left in this first half. And Carolina with the 6-5 lead. As we're back to the face-off X. Frank versus Frith. As Jacob Nagelson just buried his 4th goal of the evening, carrying the Clemson offense here on this Thursday night, April 14. It's going to be a face-off violation against Frith, and Clemson will be awarded the possession. And here's Will Maripodi trying to push quick offense or slow things down. And now it's Sean Tarish. Now it's Jake Megelson from the point, as Clemson will look to get into this next offensive possession. 55 seconds left on the shot clock, and even 4 minutes left on our first half game clock, as William Ciccarelli carries it down the right alley. Now to Gioli. He's going to try to sneak one past Alex Petrish. Big kick save from Petrish, though, and a big ground ball by, it looks like, Andrew Cook, who cleared out for Thatcher Knox. And here's Thatcher Knox in transition. He'll pass off for Stanton. Stanton looked like he was about to load up and take a shot. Did not come up cleanly with the pass. Ball is still on the ground. Bodies also hit the floor. Johnny Stanton, though, didn't come up the ground ball. I was going to say, it looks like he came up the ground ball. Ball is still on the ground.
Starting to look like a middle school game.
Clemson will come up with the ground ball. However, whistles come in to the dislike, the boos of our Clemson crowd here. A great, incredible crowd here at historic Riggs Field.
I was just about to say, as much as I hate Clemson, this crowd is awesome to see for a lacrosse game in South Carolina.
Here's a shot by Gunnar Wilson.
Absolutely fires one past the goalie there.
A scorcher by Gunnar Wilson. It hit the stick of Calvin Analyst and sneaks by. Carolina retakes a 2-goal lead, and it's now 7-5 with 3:15 left in this first half.
Chris got to be careful here not to get another violation. He's got 2.5, and 3 means a 30-second penalty.
Frith and Frank back to the face-off stripe. Frank was hot to start, but Frith has dominated here as of late. Ball still on the ground here off the initial face-off. Possession will be awarded, though, to Clemson. And Clemson will slow things down. With 2:40 left in this second quarter. 50 seconds left on the shot clock. Sean Tarish, the junior, will carry to his right. Now switch hands to his left, and he'll swing it out to the far sideline. It's William Chigarelli with a nice toe drag dodge there from the point. Bounce shot saved by Alex Petrish. Now Carolina will look to clear.
It's a big confidence builder there for Alex. Hopefully that'll get him going here.
We were talking about the crowd there before that big, I think it was a Gunnar Wilson goal. Great crowd we have here at Riggs Stadium.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm from North Carolina, and I have never really, outside of maybe UNC Duke lacrosse game, I've really never seen a lacrosse game like this. And I know we got a couple of Maryland boys who are used to this environment, but you don't get this a lot in the South. This is pretty cool to see.
A couple Maryland guys, a couple Long Island, Northern Jersey guys on both of these two teams. And again, we'll have to try to get some sort of look here, maybe during the half, try to get our camera to pan over this crowd. Incredible crowd here on this Thursday evening. As Costa penalty will carry to his right. Now to GLE will cut it back to his left. Now to the point. He'll swing out to the far wing. A shot from Jacob Nagelson. Has 4 goals on the evening. It whistled wide. And we're going to have a timeout from the Carolina sideline. Minute 35 left in this first half. Carolina with the 7-5 advantage. Taking a look at our crowd here at historic Riggs Field on this beautiful Thursday evening. They've been loud as well.
Yeah, they really been going the whole game. Clemson got that first goal, and the stadium's been buzzing the entire time.
I talked before about the SELC tournament that begins this Saturday. The SELC being the only conference to begin their tournament this weekend. South Carolina heading to LaGrange, Georgia to meet Auburn. The other match will also be taking place in LaGrange, Georgia. It's going to be Florida State taking on Georgia. The winner of the first matchup, South Carolina and Auburn, will play Florida and Jacksonville in the semifinal. As for the winner of Georgia and Florida State, they will play Georgia Tech in Jacksonville, Florida, again that weekend of April 23rd and 24th. As for the ALC tournament, it will begin next weekend. Clemson will be taking on Pittsburgh. That begins on April 23rd, so I believe next Saturday. As for the other matchup, it will be James Madison and NC State, with the winners funneling to take on the 2 top seeds in the ALC. From the North, Liberty, who finishes the year 10-2, the number 4 team in the MCLA, and then Virginia Tech finishing the season 11-1, the number 2 team in the MCLA, and actually received the most first-place votes here in the weekly coaches media poll. However, BYU remained the top seed in the country.
Yeah, that certainly got some chirps on Twitter there. People like to joke about the West Coast bias that the MCLA may or may not have, but Virginia Tech's knocked off a couple good teams here, with the only team that has beaten them this season so far is the Gamecocks.
South Carolina getting that big win on that trip to Virginia. It was shot by Clemson at the timeout. He's going to go to the end line. Clemson will keep possession on the loose ball. There's a backhanded shot.
I didn't hear
from William Chigarelli.
I didn't hear a whistle on that restart. I don't know how you can get in that goal. He went, which normally you get a quick whistle off of, but you need that. You need to hear that whistle, and I feel like that's something I would hear from up here, but I did not get that from the officials.
Nonetheless, it is a good Clemson goal. And again, the deficit is 1. Carolina leading 7-6 with 1:11 left on the first half game clock. It was a very nice goal from Will Chigarelli, a spinning backhand goal.
That was a great shot.
And back to the face-off X. And it's Chris Casey coming up with a big face-off win over Frith. And Clemson will get the ball into their offensive possession in the stick of Costin Pendleton. He'll slow things down as we are now under a minute in this first half. Shot clock is not a factor as Pendleton will take it to his left. We'll get whistles from the near sideline, and it'll be a Clemson timeout from head coach Buff Grubb and the Tigers sideline. We'll take a quick break. 50 seconds left here in the first half. Here in the South Carolina Gamecocks Network. Welcome back here to historic Riggs Field at the University of Clemson on this beautiful Thursday evening, April 14th. The Battle of the Palmetto State as the number 9 team in the MCLA, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, travel here to Clemson to take on the number 6 team, in the country. My name is Ryan Holzbus alongside Finn Landy. I want to thank you all for tuning in here on the South Carolina Gamecocks Club Lacrosse Team YouTube channel. We started on Twitter as we had some technical difficulties, but we've been running smooth ever since. We are under 45 seconds here in the first half. Carolina with the 7-6 lead. And looking to get the last offensive possession here of the half. Sean Tarish will carry to his right. Now to the point for Pendleton. Now on the stick of Ciccarelli. His pass trying to find Jacob Nagelson on the crease. Did not find the mark. Ball will go to the end line. Wasn't a shot. So Bucky Donovan right there will keep possession for Carolina. And then looking for a long-range pass. Gets decked there by, it looks like, the attackman Will Maripodi for Clemson. Flag came in from the official.
I believe that's a push with possession there. Bucky Donovan, he had that in his stick. I don't know why. I don't think you can decline a penalty in lacrosse. He's shaking his arms now, but I guess we'll see what happens there.
It was a high check there from Maripodi. And they're from the end line, the defensive player, I should say. So in this case, the Clemson attackman, you got to give 5 yards there on the restart of possession. Did not look like that 5 yards was given. And then a high shot there taken on Bucky Donovan. Carolina with 19 seconds is going to get a free clear, up by a goal, and a chance to try to extend that lead to 2 goals. Again here with 19 seconds left.
I'll be interested to see if the Gamecocks don't get an immediate look. They might just hold the ball here, because if you have a penalty going into the half and you maintain possession, you get the ball to start the next half. So we'll see what happens here.
Incredible insight there by Finn Landy, cameraman, color commentator with us today on this beautiful Thursday evening as the sun just setting to our left. Looks like Carolina's going to try to put something together offensively as we're now under 15 seconds. Ball's in the stick of Dermot Quinn at the point. He'll carry to his right. Here's Sam Weiss. He gets the shot off, but it's saved by Analyst. Clemson will come up with the ground ball, and they will hold possession to close out this first half.
So now you get the inverse there where Clemson's going to start the ball here as we start the second half in about 10 minutes.
Carolina 7, Clemson 6 as we come to halftime here at historic Riggs Field. Again, the Battle of the Palmetto State, the number 6 team in the country, the Clemson Tigers, hosting the number 9 team in the country, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. We're going to get to a halftime break here from historic Riggs Field. Again, for Finn Landy, my name is Ryan Holzbus. We will be back with the second half in about 15 or so minutes. Don't go anywhere. Again, we'll be right back. Welcome back to historic Riggs Field at Clemson University here on this beautiful Thursday evening. Sun is just setting here to our left as we are back for the second half of this in-state rivalry, the Battle of the Palmetto State. It's number 16 in the country, the Clemson Tigers, taking on the number 19 in the country, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. As we will begin this half, Clemson will be man down, but they will begin with possession. As we detailed at the end of that first half, South Carolina had it with about 20 seconds in the man up, tried to do something offensively, did not get a good look on Cage. Clemson closed out the half with the ball, so they will begin with possession down a man here to start this second half. It's 7-6, Carolina leads. Sam Weiss in the first half had a hat trick for Carolina. Pat Riley had 2 goals. Joe McQuinn, Gunnar Wilson each added a goal. Johnny Stan as well. And then for Clemson, Jacob Magelson has 4 goals on the evening. Also, William Ciccarelli and Sean Tarish have added goals for the Tigers. That was 2 goals for Sam Weiss, still looking for that hat trick. As Weiss has 8 hat tricks on the season. 2 points in each game this year. He continues that streak. So 2 points now in every game in this regular season. As Clemson will control here in the opening 30 seconds or so of the half. There was a skip pass from the point, trying to find a Clemson attackman on the crease. However, it went right to Alex Petrish, and he'll now take it from the goal. And South Carolina will
take that save.
Nice shot came right to him. Both goalies remain in the cages, in their respective cages. Alex Petrish getting the start here for Carolina. Again, they have all 3 goalies here on hand, Luke Cosentino and Leo Scotti. The other 2, they've gotten action. They've all 3 of them gotten starts on the year. For Clemson, it's Calvin Analis. We thought we might see Danny Liable at some point here, maybe to start this second half for Clemson, the starting goalie for the Tigers. However, Analis stays in there as South Carolina gets the first possession of the half started. 30 seconds left on the shot clock as we're about a minute and a half through this third quarter. Here's a skip pass inside, and it's a wide open Pat Riley on the other end of what looked like a Ryan Vermeulen pass. Pat Riley, his first hat trick of the season, or I should say his third hat trick of the season, excuse me. But a big hat trick nonetheless. And Pat Riley gives the Gamecocks a 2-goal lead.
I don't know what it is about these big games, but Pat Riley always shows up. He always comes out. He had a couple of big goals off the ride against Liberty earlier in the year, and now here he is against Clemson, cleaning up those garbage goals again.
And to go back to it, as you say there, 3 goals and 2 assists earlier in the season at Liberty. He also had a hat trick at Grand Canyon out in Arizona. It's going to be Chris Casey coming up with a big face-off win here against Frith. As Clemson now down by 2 goals. We'll try to cut the deficit in half and get back to that 1-goal deficit as there was a long-range skip pass. Pat Riley almost came up with a big interception. Albert Clemson will clear. It's going to be number 3, Will Hurley, across midfield for Clemson, the junior. And the Tigers will now slow things down here as we're just over 2 minutes through this first half. Again, Carolina in black, Clemson in white, and the Gamecocks lead 8-6. Just over 2.5 minutes through this third quarter. 50 seconds left on the shot clock for Clemson, as Costin Pendleton will carry to his left with the stick in his left hand. Now down the left alley, he'll slow things down. Looks past for the point, but a redodge to the left. Gets his left hand free, and Petrish gets his gloves on that one. Ball will skirt out to the far sideline. Official a little hesitant to make the call there, but he does award possession to the Tigers, and they will keep possession. Should be a fresh shot clock. We have 1 shot clock reset. The other has not been. And there's William Ciccarelli beating Alex Petrish to his 5-hole. And then again, we'll cut the deficit. 2-1, Carolina 8. Clemson 7 with 12 minutes left in this third quarter.
That's his second Clemson goal off of a quick restart there. They were able to get across the field, change changed the field to dodge from, and then the Gamecocks just didn't have a slide ready to go there, and then he was able to get his hands free and didn't use his shot off.
Ciccarelli, his second goal of the evening, takes us back to a one-goal game. Again, 3 minutes through this third quarter. Carolina leads at 8-7. Again, back and forth affair. Clemson has only had one lead. It's going to be a violation against Frith. And Alec Frank, another face-off victory, and they'll look to push it quickly in transition. However, unable to come up with it was Will Maripodi, and he will slow things down and now carry 2x. Now Sean Tarish out of the box from the point, carrying to his left against Andrew Cook, and he'll now circle things around and get it up to Ciccarelli out of the box. From the far wing, it'll be Brad Scheffler, the grad senior, who now controls from the point. Down the left alley is Scheffler. Slow things down. Now a long-range skip pass, trying to find Tarish from the point, and it sails over his head. Carolina will take over.
I don't know if those of you watching at home could see that there, but what I was talking about on the previous goal, where the Gamecocks didn't have a slide ready to go, they did this time, and they were able to follow and show there, which didn't allow the Clemson midfielder to get a good dodge off, so he had to pull it out, which forced a bad pass in turn.
Dermot Quinn will get it across for the Gamecocks. A couple juke moves there on a couple Clemson attackmen on the ride. Carolina will clear and now get it into their own offensive possession. As Ryan Vermeulen will slow things down from the point. Now turn on the motor to his right and pass off 2x for Sam Weiss, and now Johnny Stanton still behind the cage. We'll get a pick and carry up to his right across GLE, and now Quinn from the point. Sizing up to his fender, gets a step to his right, and he beats the goalie, Calvin Analis, again to his right. A great shot there from Dermot Quinn on the run. It's going to be his second goal of the evening. Carolina again extending their lead to 2 goals.
The Gamecocks are a very, very, very scary group whenever Dermot Quinn has a shot going. He initiates the offense well, and especially with the absence of Connor Griffin tonight, it's been great to see Dermot really getting a couple goals off.
Second goal of the evening, as I said there before, for Dermot Quinn. His 8th goal and 18th point of 2022. Again, missed the last 2 games for Carolina, the trip out to Alabama. Missed a couple of games also middle of the season with an injury. Alec Frank with a big face-off win, then a quick pass for Maripodi, skip pass across for Costin Pendleton. His shot, though, off the mark. Clemson does get the backup and will keep possession. A fresh 70 seconds on the shot clock. We have 2 shot clocks. The one on the Clemson offensive half of the field is stuck at 38 seconds, so if you see that shot clock, don't worry about that one, as it is a fresh 64 Clemson as they control from the point as we are under the 10-minute mark. Carolina in black leading Clemson 9-7. Clemson in the white with orange numbers. Here's William Ciccarelli getting to his left, and his shot stings the top corner, beating Alex Petrish. And again, Clemson cuts the deficit. It's 9-8 Carolina.
The Clemson midfielders have absolutely glued the Gamecocks today down the alley. I think that's about their 4th or 5th goal from that spot, or at least on the opposite side of the field.
Our massive crowd here at historic Riggs Field loves it. Clemson cuts the deficit back to 1 goal with 9:43 left in the third quarter. It's Carolina 9, the Tigers 8. As we're back to the face-off stripe. Frith has been struggling as of late to start this half. He gets a big face-off window here, and a quick pass to Johnny Stanton, who will slow things down, allowing Carolina to get their offensive personnel onto the field. As Gunnar Wilson will carry now on the far sideline. Now swing out for Sam Weiss, who will attack in the unsettled situation. Sticking his left hand, he's got nothing, and he'll move it over for Ryan Vermeulen, and now to the point for Quinn. Quinn with 2 goals on the evening. Terry to his right. Tried to slip through a second defender coming over there on the slide. Ball was dislodged. However, Sam Weiss right there to pick it up. Back to Quinn. Now Quinn a long-range skip pass over for Gunnar Wilson. Wilson gets stripped from behind. And now Clemson will come the other way with the ground ball. Strong ride from Carolina, however. Clemson will keep possession, and now into the stick of Will Maripodi on the Clemson offensive half of the field. And Maripodi will slow things down and actually now attacking in the unsettled situation against Carolina's Bucky Donovan. However, Clemson will now slow things down as they have their offensive personnel out onto the field. Carolina 9, Clemson 8. As we just hit the 8:30 mark of this third quarter, Sean Tarish on the far side of the field, up against Gamecocks captain Will Lohoff-Gaida. Now Costin Pendleton for William Ciccarelli from the point. Ciccarelli matched up with Andrew Cook. Backing down his defender from about 14 or so yards from the cage. He'll now pull things out and reset up his dodge, sticking his left hand, trying to find some help, and he'll again circle things around and look to re-attack. And now find Tarish. And now with 10 seconds left on the Clemson shot clock, it's Costin Pendleton. He'll try to find, look like Garrett Brennan. And unable to find the mark, Carolina will take over from the end line.
And you don't see it get it shouted out enough. You've seen it in the PLL recently. They've started awarding the best short stick D midi of the year, the best short stick D midi in the league. And Andrew Cook showed right there why him and Will LG are so valuable to this team. That was 3 dodges there from the Clemson midfielder, and Cook, he did not let him get a step.
And you talked about before how the Clemson offensive midfielders have kind of been dusting these Carolina defensive middies. And answering the call there is Andrew Cook and Will Lohoff-Gaida, who have been starring on this Carolina defense all season. As for Cook, he's got 20 ground balls, 3 goals on the year. Will LG with 26 ground balls, as well as a goal and 2 assists, as Ryan Vermeulen now controls for Carolina. Ryan Vermeulen, number 9 in black, will carry 2X, matched up with the shorty, the senior Evan Doherty. Now trying to find John Stanley, passes off the mark. Albert Stanley rushing to the sideline. Ball does sneak out across the end line. Clemson will take over and look to clear. Down by a goal, 6:43 left in this third quarter. We will get some whistles from the official on our near sideline. A quick stoppage of play. As we have...
The ref called a timeout there. I'm not sure what exactly happened. You see the Clemson official running over to what looks... I guess it's a shot clock issue, maybe?
We've got Clemson coaches running over to the far sideline, to the far 2 shot clocks. If they might try to reset that. They just turned one off.
That's an issue we've seen in Columbia a few times. We've had to turn off our shot clocks, move them around.
We've got a game stopped for shot clock issues.
I've been yelled at a few officials in my day for messing up the shot clock, but yeah, you can see them whenever one gets knocked out, they put it at midfield there so both sides can see it.
I did mention there just a couple minutes ago that that left shot clock was paused there, like 30 seconds or something. They turned that shot clock off. They moved the one that is working to the middle of the field. Reads 79 seconds of that full 80-second shot clock. So it looks like we should be good to go and get back to action. Carolina leading 9-8 over Clemson with 6:42 left in this third quarter. Both teams keeping it close. The largest lead by either team that's been by Carolina has been by 2 goals. Clemson has had 1 lead. We've been tied a handful of times throughout this battle of the Palmetto State, as Will Maripodi to pass off for Costin Pendleton. And Pendleton will slow things down from midfield. Now Jake Mickelson, as Clemson will look to tie this game up at 9 as we approach the 6-minute mark in the third quarter. Again, a massive crowd here on hand at historic Briggs Field at Clemson University. Great crowd. As Finn said before, we really don't see crowds like this too much down here in the South. Hopefully a sign of what we could get for years to come as Garrett Brennan muscled his way through.
That shot was absolutely exceptional right there. To be able to have your arms getting lifted up right there and still have the power to get that shot on top right, it's really, really impressive.
Long story short, Garrett Brennan ties this game up at 9. He's been fairly quiet through the majority of this game. Carolina keeping him at bay.
I believe Teddy Russell's had that assignment. He's had a great year with the Gamecocks so far. He's out of Gonzaga. He's played in big games like this. Hopefully he keeps it going, and that's the only goal that Brendan can get.
Teddy Russell, a defenseman on that early All-SELC watch list for 2022. Will Frith with a quick face-off and gets a shot on goal. However, saved by analysts. It wasn't a clean save, though. Carolina comes up with the ground ball. They will now get it behind for, looks like, Andrew Pizzo at Axel swing to Johnny Stanton, who stands on the far sideline. Now to Dermot Quinn, at the point. Garrett Breton has been great this season. We have it now as his 52nd goal of the year, 62nd point. However, I believe just his first goal of the evening. Is Carolina keeping him well covered up, as Finn mentioned. Teddy Russell, the sophomore, with that assignment this evening. So Gunnar Wilson starting this possession now. Dermot Quinn from about 10 yards out. He steps into one. However, his shot wide of the cage. Johnny Stanton with the backup behind. Carolina will keep possession. Here's Stanton. Getting a pick from Weiss behind. Wasn't too much of a pick. And now Stanton. A skip pass inside for Quinn. Really nice handle by Quinn. His shot though off the mark. Ball did squirt out behind underneath analysts.
That's what Candela is really going to be mad about. He's been preaching all year. You got to get up in front of the goal and make that goalie move. Make that goal bigger for the goalie and make it more difficult for him to make a save.
Pass out into the middle of the field by Clemson. Does not find a Clemson player. South Carolina came up with the ground ball. It was Trenton Wiley, who's missed a handful of games this season, was banged up at the end of the game versus Florida State. He comes up with a big ground ball, keeps possession with Carolina in a fresh shot clock as Sam Weiss slows things down. Moved off for Dermot Quinn. Tied up at 9 here as we approach the 4-minute mark in the third quarter. Carolina will look to retake the lead and hit double digits here in the scoring. Here's a shot, pass inside from Quinn to Johnny Stanton, and the freshman Stanton scores his second goal of the evening and gives Carolina that lead back. It's 10-9 South Carolina here with 3:55 left in the third quarter.
Dermot's really done a great job here tonight. He's predominantly been a goal scorer all year, but he's really been keeping his head up and finding it. That's the second time he's found somebody on the crease. I believe the first time it was Pat Riley, and this time it's Johnny Stanton. Hopefully he keeps that going.
USC stops the bleeding as Clemson was on a 2-goal run. And USC retakes their lead. As I said, it is now 10-9 Carolina. And Alec Franklin come up with a big face-off win against Frith. Clemson, will slow things down in their own offensive end. Trying to again tie this game back up at 10. Two of the best teams in the country. Number 6, Clemson. Number 9, South Carolina. This will be William Ciccarelli, who's had a great start to this game. At least 2 goals on the evening. And now it's Brennan. We're going to step on his defender. His shot off the mark. Will Mayer Pody with the backup for Clemson. He'll keep possession with the Tigers. Here's Mayer Pody. Quick off the restart. His skip pass inside. Didn't find Brennan.
It was a great job by Greenberg getting the stick out there and poking that away.
Ciccarelli from the wing to his right. A foot pass, one-handed foot pass inside to Garrett Brennan. And Garrett Brennan buries his second goal of the evening. Big goal by the Clemson Tigers to get this game back to tied as we are just about to hit the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. It's back to 10-10.
We've seen it all year with South Carolina and Sam Weiss. You can only keep a team's best player checked for so long. Brennan's gotten hot here, and the Gamecocks got to find a way to get a couple of sticks on him and make sure to slow him down. It's going to be tough to stop Clemson whenever he's going.
Big goal by the Tigers here as we approach the 3-minute mark in this third quarter. We get back out to the face-off stripe, and it's another big win by Alec Frank. However, unable to come up with his own ground ball. And a wing there for Carolina. It was Will Lohofgada came up with the ground ball and then got tackled there on the other end of that. No flag, no whistles. But Carolina will keep possession, and now it's Trenton Wiley from the point. He'll move it all for Johnny Stanton on the wing. And now behind and in the stick of Sam Weiss, who had a really strong first half, has been held pretty quiet here through this third quarter. Now a skip pass cross. Here's Weiss, saved by English, hitting right in the chest. And now Clemson will look to clear. Long range skip pass, more like just a clearing pass there from Clemson. Carolina will now be awarded possession, and they'll keep it in the offensive end with a fresh shot clock. They'll be able to keep their offensive personnel on the field. Here's Vermeulen from the point, dodging down the right alley, gets a step on his defender, and now back to his left, back to his right, and swing it behind for Stanton at X. Here's Stanton, skip pass to the point, was handled there by, I believe it's Trenton Wiley, however, Wiley was unable to keep it. It was Gunnar Wilson actually, as Clemson now in transition. There was a shot from Costin Pendleton over the bar. A diving attempt from Bucky Donovan out, but Clemson will keep possession in their own offensive end. And now it's Will Maripodi slowing things down on the near sideline. Up against Bucky Donovan. Donovan, little bit of a limp here as Maripodi takes it from next. Quick help slide from Des Patton for the Gamecocks. Ball now back up to the point for Costin Pendleton, and now on the stick of Will Ciccarelli against Andrew Cook. He gets a step into his left. Shot saved by Petrish. Cleanly saved by Petrish, and he'll now slow things down behind the cage.
It's a big save there from Alex. He had led a couple in a row there. Hopefully he gets hot here.
We are approaching the 1 minute mark here in this third quarter. All tied up at 10 here in this battle of the Palmetto State, the 2022 edition. As we are now under a minute, 10-10 score. The shot clock will not play a factor here.
Look for Sam Weiss right here. He's floating over on that left side looking to shoot.
Ball's now on the stick of Gunnar Wilson, who has had a strong season. 20 points coming in. He's added a handful here in this game. Now down to his right. He slips and falls. Still on the ground. Ball's on the ground. Now the ball will squirt to midfield.
Wow.
Very nice job there by, it looked like Teddy Russell to keep it on the Carolina offensive side of the field. Ball goes out of play. Dermot Quinn will now pick it up from the near sideline right outside the box. Carolina hoping for this restart. 18 seconds left in the quarter. And we'll get whistles here. Now the restart from our official on the near sideline. 18 seconds and counting. Here's Quinn down the right alley. Pushed behind goal, 2X. Skip pass to the point. It's going to be Gunnar Wilson. Wilson's big shot, hammer shot. Off the mark. And his backhand attempt. Looked like
God,
it was Johnny
Pat
Stanton.
Riley. Was that Johnny Stanton? Oh, Dermot Quinn.
No, Andrew Pizzo with the backhanded attempt. Ball was on the ground with 2 seconds reading on the third quarter game clock.
We got Piz Nasty, the senior. First time we've seen him play all game. He gets in there, he throws it over the head. I'm sure Piz is screaming with that raspy voice right now. The boys are definitely buzzing.
To close the third quarter, a huge goal by Andrew Pizzo. We've seen a little bit of him in this game, but the first time we've really called out his name, he was right there on the crease. Ball was on the ground, kind of picked it up and just over his back shoulder, tossed it into the cage. And just like that, Carolina retakes the lead, 11-10. Alec Frank with a big face-off win, or I should say a quick face-off win. Quick shot on goal, but it's off the mark. And we will head into the break before the fourth quarter. Carolina up 11-10. Finn, this has been one heck of a game. A great crowd on hand to watch it. We're going to head into this quarter break, into this fourth quarter. Carolina 11, Clemson 10.
I mean, you cannot ask for anything else. Beautiful southern night here in South Carolina watching some lacrosse.
The battle of the Palmetto State. Number 6 Clemson trails number 9 South Carolina in just one more quarter of play. 15 minutes left, and we'll be back with that 15 minutes in just a couple of moments. With the fourth quarter for Finn Landy and Ryan Holzquist, we will be right back. Lacrosse fans, welcome back to historic Riggs Field at the University of Clemson for quarter 4 of the Battle of the Palmetto State. South Carolina in black leads 11-10 over the Clemson Tigers in white as Alec Frank, who's been fairly dominant through this evening's game, gets another big face-off win. And Clemson will now control on this next offensive possession, looking to get this game back to tied. We've been tied, then Clemson has taken the advantage. We've been tied again. Carolina, though, for the most part, holding on to a 1-goal lead for the majority of this game. That was Costin Pendleton, trying to find Will Maripodi. Maripodi unable to come up with the pass, and now South Carolina will control.
That's the second time there Teddy's used his stick to knock the ball away and get a big ground ball for the Gamecocks. You saw it at the end of the third quarter there, too, which led to that Andrew Pizzo goal.
Here comes a flag in. It looked like Will Lohov was hit in the middle of the field. So Carolina will have possession here ahead of their man-up opportunity as boos ring in from our predominantly Clemson faithful. As Dermot Quinn will take it from the point, as we're now a minute and a half through this fourth quarter. And Dermot Quinn steps into one and buries it.
I was getting ready to say that's not really the shot that the Gamecocks want, but I guess Dermot was feeling himself, so he just decided to step down and win 5-1.
Dermot Quinn opens up our fourth quarter scoring with his third goal of the evening. Carolina extending their lead back to 2 goals. Again, 2 has been the largest lead that Carolina has had in this game. But with 13:32 left in this fourth quarter, it's 12-10 Carolina, and back to the face-off stripe for this face-off again between Frith and Frank. 2 rock stars when it comes to the art of taking face-off. Frank comes up with a big one. Here's Johnny Stan on the ride, though, coming in to help. Frank will just flip it over into the Clemson offensive end. Ball is still on the ground, and Costin Pendleton will come up with a big ground ball, but a big check there by a Carolina defenseman dislodges it. Ball is back on the ground, but we got a whistle. Looks like it's going to be a loose ball push, and Clemson will keep possession. And they will control it from the point. It is now handball for Will Ciccarelli, and he will carry to his left in the middle of the field, matched up with Thatcher Knox, the sophomore. Here's Ciccarelli, pass over now for Brad Scheffler, the grad senior, against Will Lohov-Gaida. Here's Scheffler down the alley to his left, and now be forced behind the cage to X. Pass up for Pendleton. Now at the point. And Doherty. Doherty gets his hand free to his left. Shot saved by Petrich. Ball still on the ground. Now kicked out to the near sideline. As it's Owen Butcher, that's Bucky Donovan. The 3 white jerseys battling around him for the ground ball. Ball still on the ground. And now flipping the middle field, we get a whistle. As Tim Trubisky came up with the ground ball, but pushed out of bounds. Clemson will keep possession here in the near corner with a fresh shot clock with 12:30 left in this fourth quarter. Carolina in black leading 12-10. Out of the box comes Jacob Magelson with a head of steam. His pass trying to find Sean Tarish off the mark. It will skip out of play along the far sideline. Carolina will take over from that far sideline. Carolina will successfully clear here. Ball on the stick of Ryan Vermeulen as he looks for help as Carolina gets their offensive personnel on the field. Clemson adversely gets their defensive personnel on the field, trying to keep this at a 2-goal deficit. As we are now under 12 minutes, Carolina leading 12-10 as Sam Weiss gets a step on his defender. He'll move out for Stan along the end line, and now it's Trent Wiley, from the wing, carrying to his right. He goes down to the ground. Moved off for Ryan Vermeulen. Ryan Vermeulen steps into a shot. Saved, though, by Calvin Analyst, the freshman. And now Clemson will look to clear. Some big checks being thrown by South Carolina here on the ride. However, Clemson will clear across midfield. It's Will Hurley carrying it across. The junior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now Clemson will slow things down in their offensive end. Action-packed game, action-packed fourth quarter. South Carolina tries to keep this here on their own defensive end, a 2-goal game. So here's Will Ciccarelli from the point, shot, saved cleanly, I should say, parried, not cleanly by Alex Petrus. Garrett Brennan, though, with a very fancy ground ball and then one-handed shot. One-handed ground ball, kind of a little cradle, and one-handed shot with the stick in his right hand was off the mark. Clemson, though, with the backup, will keep possession. Here's Ciccarelli from X. Now the ball up to midfield as Will Maripodi runs around with it now at X. He finds Garrett Brennan, whose shot gets knocked down before it gets to the cage. Ball is on the ground. We get a whistle from our official on the far sideline. It's going to be a push.
I believe they called a loose ball push there, which is interesting. It looks like he got him in the front of the numbers, but we play on.
Clemson will control it from midfield, and now it's Costin Pendleton from the near wing. Gets a step on the pick. Shot off the mark. Looks like Andrew Cook got a piece of it. As we go behind the end line, and Clemson will keep possession. 9:43 left in the fourth quarter. It's 12-10 South Carolina. Carolina in black, Clemson in white. Let's hear Sean Treach from X. Tried to skip one in front for Costin Pendleton. We've got whistles. It's going to be a loose ball push again against Carolina. And Clemson will take over now from the near wing and keep possession with a fresh shot clock.
South Carolina's been able to stay pretty much penalty-free this whole time. Those loose ball pushes, hopefully it doesn't agitate them to do something further than that and put themselves in a deeper hole.
South Carolina, a team that has experienced some penalty issues this season, especially early in the year. There's a shot over the Costin with basically no angle matched up against Bucky Dugan. Looked like he used Dugan as a little bit of a screen there, gets his hands free, left hand free, and he gets that bounce shot to beat Alex Petrus. And we're back to a 1-goal game. Carolina on top, 12-11 with 9:10 left here in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, that's one of those that you're watching on the screen and you see that shot from about 17 yards out, going high corner. You think that you want your goalie to save that, but he bounced it through about 6 people. That's really, really tough to see and react to.
Especially with the bounce shot change of plane. Also used the defender there as somewhat of a screen. And we're back to the face-off stripe. And it looks like a big face-off win by Will Frith. And with no one around him, he's able to scoop up a clean ground ball and get himself a big face-off win. Some momentum here. Also another offensive possession with Carolina up by just 1 goal as we're under the 9-minute mark. It's 12-11 Carolina as Sam Weiss backs his defender down, trying to bully his way through. He'll move it off for Pat Riley at X, and now Johnny Stanton along our near wing and up for Gunnar Wilson, who will control and slow things down. Gunnar Wilson, a big body up against the freshman Evan Doherty. Now inside for Trevor Quinn, but his shot is saved. And a big hit here in the middle of the field on the attempted clear. Gunnar Wilson laying a big check in the middle of the field. Looks like we had 2 Clemson players run into each other there at midfield with the ball on the ground. Our near official is going to award Clemson the possession. Down by a goal as we approach that 8-minute mark.
You don't see those kind of hits in lacrosse happen without a penalty nowadays. That was great on Gunnar to be able to keep that shoulder up and go straight into his body without hitting the head.
A big open field hit there on the ride. We've seen Johnny Stanton all season playing a big factor on the ride. And now as we approach the 8-minute mark here in this fourth quarter, it is 12-11, still South Carolina leading. As Sean Therese will pass up to the point. It's going to be Jacob Nagelson controlling for the Tigers. He'll now split it to his left. Matchup against Des Patton. He'll get his left hand free. Is Nagelson. His shot off the mark. And the possession awarded to Bucky Dudeman on the run out. And Carolina now will take over from their own end line. Dudeman will roll a long pass out to Connor Balcom, who will get it across midfield. And now Pat Riley will find Gunnar Wilson as Carolina slows things down, gets their offensive personnel on the field for this next possession, trying to increase this 1-goal lead, trying to add some insurance goals here, as this is still a tightly contested game. 12-11 Carolina as we approach the 7-minute mark in this fourth quarter, in this game. Here's Gunnar Wilson down the alley to his right. He'll pass it off for Weiss at X. And now Weiss trying to find Stanton just over the head of Stanton. However, Stanton's able to scoop up the loose ball. And now carrying above GLE to his right, he'll find Dermot Quinn at the point. Here's Quinn. Gets a pick from Ryan Vermeulen. Back to Vermeulen on the pick and roll. Here's now Vermeulen from the point. We'll find Pat Riley on the far wing. Riley puts a move on his defender. Gets his left hand free. Shot saved, though, by Anelis. And now Clemson will come the other way. In transition. Fast break opportunity with the freshman Doherty leading it. We'll find Preston Pemberton to his right. And Pemberton gets his left hand free. Jump shot goes. And Clemson ties this game up at 12 with 6:34 left in this game.
We were talking about it earlier in the game after Cruz made a save, how he was able to get the ball out quick and initiate the offense. That's what the Clemson goalie did there. He's made a couple big saves in a row, and he was able to get that outlet out quick, and Clemson got an easy goal because of it.
Our incredibly massive crowd here at the University of Clemson, historic Riggs Field, loves that last goal by their home team Tigers as they knot this one back up at 12. And a big face-off win by Will Frith to silence the crowd. And Carolina back on another offensive opportunity again. Cannot overstate, Finn, this crowd that we have on hand here for this evening's Battle of Palmetto State.
I mean, this is seriously one of the coolest lacrosse games I've ever seen as a Southerner. Growing up with the sport, not very big, and to see this many people come to a game in Clemson, South Carolina is pretty awesome.
Here's Dermot Quinn to his right, gets a pick, and now he's carrying it behind X. Looked like he got a stick up there in his helmet. No flags, though, as we are now under the 6-minute mark, tied at 12 here at Clemson University. Johnny Stanton will carry to his right and slow things down. He'll find Sam Weiss, and now out for Pat Riley. Pat Riley skips to his right, back to his left, finds Weiss at the point. Had about 5 yards of free space that he's able to skip into that shot, and he gives Carolina that lead right back, and it's 13-12 Gamecocks.
I mentioned it earlier with Brennan when he scored those 2 in a row there. You can only keep a team's best player in check for so long. Lacrosse is a game of runs. Hopefully that big goal from the senior captain, Sam Weiss, will initiate this Gamecocks offense to get a couple more and put this game away.
Sam Weiss, the senior attackman, now has a hat trick in 9 of his 13 games this season. 41 goals and 51 points now on the season, roughly, give or take a couple assists that he might have had that we did not count in this game towards that season mark. And Sam Weiss re-gives South Carolina that lead. Again, largest lead has been 2. Carolina has had, I believe, 2 or 3 2-goal leads. Clemson has led just once in this game. For the most part, it's been tied, and Carolina up by a goal. As Constant Pendleton will take it from the right wing, carrying to his left, trying to find Sean Tarish on the skip pass on the pick and roll. However, Will Lohoff got it, knocked it down. Ball is on the ground. The ball then skirted to Alex Petrish. And now Carolina looking to clear. Ball across midfield, carried by senior captain Will L.G. He'll pass it off for Johnny Stanton, who will slow things down. As we're now under the 5-minute mark, 4:40 and counting in this game. Carolina leading 13-12 in black, Clemson in white. Here at the Battle of the Palmetto State here at Clemson University. Clemson coming in at 11-2, trying to close out their regular season with a win following a loss a week and a half ago at home against Virginia Tech. South Carolina trying to make it 9 straight as they head into the SCLC tournament on Saturday against Auburn to kick off MCLA postseason, the MCLA postseason, I should say. The South Carolina will now control on the offensive end. It's Sam Weiss at X. Here's Dermot Quinn. What'd you say?
Are we third or fourth quarter?
What'd you say?
Are we third or fourth quarter?
You're number 2 in the North. Yeah. Here's Dermot Quinn. Sorry about that. A little bit of time. It was Dermot Quinn with the shot saved by Analyst. Ball will skirt to the sideline. Possession will be awarded to Carolina.
Is it the third or fourth quarter?
Okay. Carolina will keep possession there on the run out, receiving some boos from the hometown Clemson fans. And Pat Riley will take it to midfield and slow things down. A fresh shot clock as well. That Carolina started possession on the end line. We'll have a timeout on the near sideline, looks like from our official. We have a momentary stoppage of play. Again, Carolina with the 13-12 lead with 3:35 left in this game. Looks like our officials figured out whatever the issue was. We should be right back to action here. Pat Riley controlling from the far wing. Will pass it up for Dermot Quinn at the point with a fresh 60-second shot clock. 3:15 left in this game. Carolina leads 13-12. Looks like they're going to want to add to this lead as well as taking some air out of that game clock, as Gunnar Wilson will control from the near sideline for Carolina. Here's Wilson dodging to his left, sticking his right hand. Now for Trent Wiley at the point. That was a Sam Weiss shot off the mark. Now Fisher behind the cage will award Clemson with the possession. Johnny Stanton was there, but the official awarding the possession to the Tigers and defenseman Will Hurley. Clemson will now look to clear with 2:50 and counting left on the game clock. Down by a goal and going to look to tie it. Here's Will Maripodi carrying along the far sideline. Sticking his left hand, will take it behind the cage. Now for Garrett Brennan, the star of this Clemson offense, has been held in check for the majority of this game. Got hot there in the third quarter. Now trying to come up with a big goal for his Clemson Tigers. There's a catch for Will Chicarelli for Costin Pendleton. He's on the other end of it, and Pendleton ties this game up at 13 with 2:16 left in this game.
This is one of those games, Ryan, you think whoever just has the ball at the end of the game, they're probably going to end up winning. It's just both teams want this, and you can tell they're hustling for ground balls. They're hitting each other hard. This is going to be a great 2 minutes to finish this out.
Final 2 minutes are upon us. 13-13. We are tied. Again, Carolina in black, Clemson in white. As the battle of the Palmetto State coming right down to the wire as we hoped and expected. Back to the face-off strike for Alec Frank and Will Frith. Frank comes up with a huge face-off win to give his offense a possession here towards the end of this game. Frank will find a teammate. We'll see if Clemson wants to use a timeout, I should say. One of their few, I believe, they have remaining, as we are under the 2 minute mark here in this fourth quarter. Jacob Nagelson will carry to his left to the far wing. We'll get an unnecessary touching the restraint.
I was about to say, you've been touched in the wrong box at that point here. If we were still playing high school, you would need to get a touch in that little square, but he went in the rectangle.
Here's Sean Tarish from the near sideline, matched up with Captain Will Lohov guided. The shorty. Here's Tarish. Looks like quick help coming from Tim Chigilski. He'll now looking to recover and find his man. Clemson will swing it over to the other side in the stick of William Ciccarelli. Matched up against the other short stick defensive midi, Andrew Cook. With 12 seconds left on the shot clock. Approaching a minute on the game clock. Here's Ciccarelli trying to get a step. An awkward angle there. An awkward shot from Ciccarelli. Off the mark. And Clemson will take it from the end line.
If you're Clemson there, you'll take that as a possession. Oh, I guess they get the ball to South Carolina here. We'll take it. I was going to say, I guess you take it as a possession shot, but you really don't want somebody taking a shot from GLE, double team. It's never really going to end up going well.
An ill-advised shot there by Will Ciccarelli for the Clemson Tigers. South Carolina will now hope to have the final possession of this game. Alex Petras, a long outlet pass, finds Ryan Vermeulen at midfield, and he'll now get it into the Gamecocks' offensive zone. Again, South Carolina having timeouts as well here, as we are now under 30 seconds. Under 30 seconds in this game. Here's Dermot Quinn carrying it down the left alley.
This is going to be one heck of a play.
And with 23 seconds left, we'll get a timeout from the South Carolina sideline. We are tied at that 13 here with 23 seconds left. The battle of the Palmetto State coming right down to the wire. We're going to take a quick moment's break here just to catch our breath, and we'll be right back with the remainder of this game. Again, 13-13, we are tied with 23 seconds remaining. Don't go anywhere. Lacrosse fans, we are back with the final 23 seconds of regulation. South Carolina and the Clemson Tigers tied at 13. Number 16 in the country, the Clemson Tigers. The number 19 in the country, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. Again, 23 seconds left. We are tied at 13. Shot clock, not a factor. As Carolina will look to end this game. Clemson trying to come up here clutch defensively and send this one to OT or possibly give themselves another offensive possession. We are now at the 15-second mark as Gunnar Wilson controls from the point. 10 seconds. Here's Wilson down the right alley. Let's see what South Carolina has drawn up. Here's Stanton from X, pushing to his right. Jets a step, cut back to the middle, had a look, but gets put on the ground, ball came out.
He had that shot there.
And we are headed to overtime. We do have players down on the field. It's Johnny Stanton for Clemson. It's defenseman Matthew Dem. Both players a little bit shaken up there at the end of that play, but we are headed to overtime. We are tied at 13.
South Carolina got the look that they wanted there with Johnny Stanton down here. Hope that he's okay. He got a great dodge on him. Clemson just defended it well. I mean, what else can you ask for? Thursday night here in Clemson, South Carolina. We got a game to play. Got free lacrosse, Ryan.
Free lacrosse for again, as I can't underestimate it enough. This incredible, this massive crowd that we have on hand here. You've been muted the entire time?
I think we all have.
For that end of that half? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for overtime. Finlandy, my name is Ryan Holsmus, and it's going to be a face-off violation against the Gamecocks and Will Frith. Clemson will take over to start overtime. It's going to be a 4-minute overtime period here to decide our winner. Sudden death, so first team that scores does win, as Finn mentioned before. Likely that we will see whichever team wins this opening face-off will take a timeout. Does not look like Clemson is going to take a timeout here to get their opening possession started. It's Sean Tarish from the far wing, carrying to his right. He'll find Jacob Nagelson, who had a very, very strong first half to this game. Scored 4 goals. His shot trying to find Boston Pendleton off the mark. Pendleton was unable to come up with it, and South Carolina now will come the other way. As we are just about a minute through this first half. Again, Carolina in black, Clemson in white. We are all tied up at 13 here in overtime. Petrus will find Ryan Vermeulen across the field at midfield. Vermeulen will now find an attackman.
If you're South Carolina here, you really just want to be patient. You want to find your back route as they go and turn it over immediately.
Some sort of, looks like substitution error on the Gamecocks. Clemson now awarded possession coming the other way in the stick of Garrett Brennan, maybe the last person the Gamecocks wanted the ball in the stick of. We're going to get a timeout from the Clemson sideline, with 2:46 left in this first overtime period. Still tied up at 13. We're going to take another quick break here. Again, here in overtime, 2:46 left, tied up at 13. Back to action here from historic Briggs Field here in overtime. As for both of these teams, Clemson has played in just one goal game. It was a loss back in early March, 11-10 at Arizona State. As for South Carolina, they've played in 2 one-goal games. One was a loss back in February at Liberty 9-8. And then a week later, they beat Grand Canyon out in Arizona 10-9 in overtime, as we are now back to action. Under 2:45 here in this first overtime period. Not that that clock really plays much of a factor. Here's Jacob Nagelson from the point. Double team comes from Will Lohoff. He picks up the ground ball. Went to the ground. Ball came out. No flags, no whistles as my partner here, Finn, called for a push with possession. Flag doesn't come. Clemson keeps possession. Here's Carson Pendleton. He slips and goes down. Quick help came from Bucky Dudevin. He strips Pendleton, and now Dudevin going the other way in transition. It's a 4-on-3 for South Carolina. Skip pass in front, trying to find looked like
What
Riley.
a save.
And Riley was unable to finish. Incredible save by Calvin Analyst. And now going the other way is Clemson. And they'll get it across to Jacob Magelson. Pat Riley with a chance to finish it, but a huge save by the freshman Calvin Analyst. And another offensive possession coming up here for Clemson. Skip pass inside. Finds Boston Pendleton. Looked like a save or a pipe. Ball now skirts down to X. Pendleton is there. He'll slow things down. He'll pick it up. No Carolina defender in the area.
We'll give Petrush what the goalie group likes to call a position save there. He was there, forced that miss, used his big frame.
Here's William Ciccarelli trying to get to his left and get an inside step on his defender. Now he's thrown a long skip pass from Costin Pendleton trying to find Sean Tarish at the point. It's picked off by Will Lohoff. Got it. He's now stripped in the middle of the
Finally
field.
gets that
We're
push
going to get
call.
whistles. Now gets a push call.
That's 2 forced turnovers in this overtime period from LLG. We were talking about the importance of the short stick defensive midfield position, and Andrew Cook and Will Lohoff-Gaeta continue to show why they're so important.
South Carolina, a timeout from their sideline with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in this first period of overtime. Again, if we go beyond this first period, I imagine we haven't been in this situation yet. I imagine we're going for multiple for multiple overtimes.
I think it just keeps going. In my experience, I've never gotten through. I've only gotten into one overtime, and the goal happened in that 4 minutes. You don't really see too many lacrosse games where you go 4 minutes without a goal, but when you have two teams like this who just really, really, really want to win, it's tough to score.
Trying to close out their regular seasons, each of them respectively. Clemson 11-2, trying to make it to 12-2. South Carolina trying to get to double-digit wins. They're currently 9-3, trying to add one more win before starting the SCLC tournament this weekend on Saturday, just about a day and a half away against Auburn. Now, obviously, conference championships, very, very important. There are 16 seeds in that MCLA tournament. The MCLA, the governing body of club collegiate lacrosse, like the NCAA is for Division 1, 2, and 3 sports, lacrosse being one of them. 16 spots in that MCLA tournament. There are a few conferences, I believe 8 or 9 conferences in the MCLA. All of them automatic qualifiers if you win your respective tournament. And then a handful of at-large bids. Both of these teams obviously want to win their respective conference tournament. But padding their resume for one of those at-large bids, if it comes need be for that, a win here would go a long way up against another top 10 team, let alone your rival in the Palmetto State. Dermot Quinn starts from the point. He'll pass off for Ryan Vermeulen, who will carry to his right. Gets a pick and slip from Dermot Quinn. Here's Quinn, surrounded by defenders. Ball is on the ground and picked up by Clemson. Now trying to find someone in the middle of the field, was unable to. Ball still on the ground.
Great
Sam
ground ball
Weiss
there from
will come up with
Chris
the ground ball.
Greenberg, using that hockey stick right there to bump that forward to Weiss. Absolutely massive play.
Here's Pat Riley with a hat trick already on the game. Here's Sam Weiss also with a hat trick. His shot looks like it deflected off of either a Clemson defender or a South Carolina offensive player, as we are now under 15 seconds in this first overtime period.
Ryan
Vermeulen! It ends it.
Wow! RV had 3 to 4 shots this game that had gotten stuffed 5-hole, and he still keeps shooting. What a win for the Gamecocks. As you see, Alex Petrucci on the other side of the field got a little Gatorade bath as the Cox take the Palmetto State Cup.
Ryan Vermeulen, just his 6th goal on the season, and it might be the biggest goal of the season for the South Carolina Gamecocks. With time ticking down here in this first overtime period, Ryan Vermeulen buries the game winner for the Gamecocks.
I got to give Jack Sawyer a shout out here. He said number 9 on the Gamecocks having a great day earlier. Says great guy, great teammate, definitely a guy you want in the locker room. And I'll tell you what, Gamecocks are pretty freaking happy they got him in the locker room right now.
Johnny Stanton went down there at the end of that 4th quarter. Ryan Vermeulen, although he does play a ton of offense, obviously attack and midi for this Carolina team, along with Pat Riley, both of them stepping up big there, playing that entire overtime period. Riley with the chance to end it there in overtime had an opportunity, but Ryan Vermeulen got a step on his defender and buries it for the Carolina Gamecocks win.
That's
What
great.
a game. What a crowd on hand. What a game. You can't ask for anything better than
That
that.
was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. I cannot lie to you, Ryan. Love to see RV get that goal. He switched to midfield this year. Had a bit of probably a bit of a slower start than he would like, but he gets that big goal against Clemson. I bet that gets him going the rest of the year.
Alex Petrish in cage stands tall. And in a shootout, South Carolina comes out on top and will improve to 10-3 on the season. As for the Clemson Tigers, they will drop to 11-3. How this shakes up our MCLA rankings, we will see. As both of these teams will now embark on their respective postseasons. Again, for South Carolina, they will head to LaGrange, Georgia, this coming Saturday. So just about a day and a half from now, they will play Auburn in the first round of the SCLC tournament later that day. So that game's at 1 o'clock. I will be there on the call for that game. Finn might be there as well. I imagine you'll be there.
I think I might.
Videoing the game as well. So we'll be back with you for that one. On the other side of the bracket, at 4 o'clock, it will be Georgia versus Florida State. The winner of that second game will then play Georgia Tech next weekend. The winner of our game, the first game between South Carolina and Auburn, will go on to play Florida next weekend. Both of those games in Jacksonville when we get to that point. The SELC semifinals and championship being held in Jacksonville, Florida. Then the MCLA championship in Round Rock, Texas in a couple of weeks. Make sure to stay tuned to the Clemson Twitter and Instagram account, the South Carolina Twitter and Instagram account, whichever team you affiliate yourself with. But what an incredible game we just had here, Finn. 14-13, Carolina comes out on top in the Battle of the Palmetto State 2022 edition from historic Riggs Field here in Clemson, South Carolina. Couldn't ask much more than that.
Yeah, that was just, I'm really at a loss for words here. That was an amazing lacrosse game to watch. I appreciate you letting me hop on the broadcast with you. Hopefully I didn't hold you back too much.
Oh, absolutely
but
not.
with that game, I don't think people were paying much attention to our broadcast.
A full 64 minutes of lacrosse this evening. And it was an action-packed 64 minutes. South Carolina coming out on top 13-12. That's going to do it for us. Finlandy, my name is Ryan Holsmus. I want to thank you for hanging out with us this evening on this beautiful Thursday evening, April 14th. Whether you joined us on Twitter for the start, we then transitioned obviously over here to YouTube for the remainder and ending, an incredible ending to this game. Again, for Finlandy and Ryan Holsmus, I say so long. We will see you on Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Time start from LaGrange, Georgia. It's going to be the Auburn Tigers and the South Carolina Gamecocks for round 1 of the SCLC tournament with a trip to the semifinal to take on Florida on the line. Again, for Finlandy, my name is Ryan Holsmus. So long. Thank you for joining us this evening, and have a great rest of your night.